biggest change, guys, is we're bringing that angle of attack down. I do like to feel like I'm swinging a little bit more left, trying to keep myself on top of the golf ball rather than getting tilted behind the golf ball. If I feel like on any given day, like I can hit that squeeze drive, I know I'm gonna have a really good day on the golf course. All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about a subject that is maybe the complete opposite of many of the things that we actually have been preaching on the channel since we launched a few months back. And we're always trying to help people hit it further and get a little bit more distance because we know the impact that can have in your game being a little bit shorter into the hole. But at times, there is a need to hit one a little shorter and a little straighter and sacrifice some of the yardage that maybe you need if you've got a wide open hole at your disposal. So we're going to talk about some of the principles of that today. We're going to demonstrate maybe what the high bomb looks like and then maybe some of the limitations of just going with that high bomb. And if you need a plan B or a second serve on any given hole, what would you do? How would you approach that if maybe you're not having the best game and you go, okay, I just don't feel it today. When I'm hitting the ball up there, it's getting blown about or I'm curving it too much. We're going to go through that in today's session. We've positioned ourselves at one of the hardest golf courses that I've played, Shaughnessy Golf Course in Vancouver. It resembles 18 bowling alleys rather than 18 golf holes. It's so tight. You really do have to have control of your start line of your golf ball or you're just going to be in a world of pain for certainly the par fours and par fives. Really, really difficult golf course. But if you do go, you drive it well on the course, it's one of the courses you can really thrive on relative to your competition, and that's who we're talking to today. Okay, we've picked hole number 2 at Shaughnessy. Actually not a long hole at all, relatively speaking, under 400 yards. But the challenge is getting the ball in play. How many times can you get it in play? So is it needing a driver? Maybe not for a lot of people, but we're going to go with the purpose of the hitting the straighter driver, knowing that we can take advantage of it if we get a wedge in our hands. So we've got our data over here on the left-hand side of the page, and then a more detailed breakdown, obviously, on our tiles. And we're going to look at what the high sort of bomb looks like and the height, the launch, the spin, how far that carries. And then we're going to give up some of that in order to hit it a little bit straighter and explain how we do that. All right, there's the high one. Not much of a bomb, but it's definitely a high one. We'll start off with a few of those. High and in the fairway, pretty good. 15 launch, 2300 spin. I mean, absolutely maximizing in carry distance what we put into that in terms of effort and speed. Just kind of getting a couple out there. Really trying to take advantage of that attack angle up at 5.4 there. And I'm not really going to spend too much time talking about the high one and the differences because, as I said, we've done so much content on that one. If you haven't watched the sort of explanation as to how to hit it higher and further, just go back, watch a few of our other videos. We've talked about it many, many times, how to really maximize the speed you've got. And we are doing that here. There's no doubt about it. Carry distance at 274 out of a pretty, I don't want to call it tame speed, but it's a little bit less than what I would call full out for me. Lots of launch, keep the spin rate down, maximize the carry, pretty good. But at, what are we hitting that in terms of feet? 126 feet. If we get any wind at all, we're in all sorts of trouble with a ball that's that high. We're going to talk today about trying to hit it as straight as that, but in a much, much more efficient fashion. Start with tee height. Let's get that tee height down a little bit. I was using a number 6 tee in the bird tee range. I'm going to go down to number 4. If we look at the delivery characteristics, we're 5.2 degrees up in the angle of attack. We're 3.2 from the inside. The face angle is slightly closed relative to that path, which gives us a marginal little draw. All good stuff. Really, really nice stuff to high draw. Delivering 18 degrees of loft, pretty much 17.8. I would say that's too high. for someone that's swinging at 105 miles an hour, we want to try and get that down a little bit. Okay, let's make some changes. Let's flight this down a little bit. Let's find a bit more of a fairway finder, but let's try and do it without giving up too much. Tee height's down a little bit. I'm going to hit one out there and we'll kind of talk our way through that. A little bit flatter. Catch a branch, we might. I like the flight in that one. Interestingly, and we've seen this. Again, I'm going to point you back to an old video of mine. Tee height. I've made one change to there. Effort level, you guys will see it. I didn't try to swing hard at that one. All of a sudden, I get the ball speed up to 159 just by teeing it down a little bit. My golf swing reacts really well to a lower tee than it does to a higher tee, and another example of that. But immediately, we bring that peak height down to 74 feet. A launch angle at 11, spin rate 1900, coming out much, much flatter than when we were hitting that sort of big, sort of high draw as it was. Angle of attack is now only 2.2 degrees up rather than 5.5, 6 degrees up. And the path, rather than being too much from the inside, has gotten much, much more neutral as well. Only 1.6 from the inside. So we are going to get a much flatter ball flight out of the lower tee, but that's not the only thing. So in this case, for me, I like the ball position to go back ever so slightly. I like to get a little bit more open with my stance, right? So I'm not trying to swing very hard at this, so I might not have as much sort of clearance from my body. So I have ball position back, stance marginally open. And I'm just going to really try and stay on top of this one. If anything, I'm actually thinking try and hit a little squeeze cut is one of the feels I've got going on here. All right, so let's start to look again at this, this delivery. Biggest change, guys, is we're bringing that angle of attack down. A nice bounce like that. When we talk about setup, in those first couple, I'm really trying to get that right shoulder low. I'm trying to make sure that my sort of right hip is a little bit lower. I'm kind of really stacked in this right-hand side, and I'm going to turn back and then kind of always stay behind as I hit up an awful lot. It's a really good way to get that launch angle up, and with the right loft and right driver setup, you can keep the spin rate down. Here, I'm kind of trying to do the opposite, to be honest. I am trying to get the ball position a little bit more back. Because the further back you move the ball in your stance, that path is quite likely to shoot a little bit more to the right, as it did there at 4.6 on that last one. That's why I quite like this open stance, because I do like to feel like I'm swinging a little bit more left, trying to keep myself on top of the golf ball rather than getting tilted behind the golf ball. That's the death move for me. That's where I really struggle with my driver. If I feel like on any given day, like I can hit that squeeze drive, I know I'm going to have a really good day on the golf course, and I can start to sort of put myself in good positions. If I get stuck under it, and that's the same for a lot of golfers, then the face rotation, you can hit the hooks and the blocks all day long. So we want to try and minimize that face rotation as much as we can. So tee height is down. You can see it there, that face on cam. You can see how the ball is pretty much sitting right in the middle of the head. All right, so we've got that ball position really nicely in the middle of the head. And that's where angle attack is crucial, because if that ball is sitting right in the middle of the head and we get too much of an upward strike, we are going to catch it really low in the head. We're going to get that high spinner, lose a lot of ball speed. Not a good place to hit it. So we do want to make sure that we're returning the club as close to the ground as we can. So ball position back, stance a tad open. You can grip down on it a little bit if you want. I'm not against that whatsoever. And for me, the swing is feeling like I'm going to swing slightly left, trying to keep my chest down and less back as I come through. Could probably too with taking a little bit my own advice here. I wish I could be as proficient with the second serve swings as I have been here. But in a case like this, you know, you see the launch come down to 10, the spin go up to 2,900. That is absolutely A-okay. That's kind of almost what you're looking for. You're going to give up a little bit of that distance, but at 268, you're not really giving up that much distance at all, but you are controlling that club face. Path nicely at 1.2 from the inside face. Face angle actually a little bit close to the path, but we hit fade there. That's a little pop quiz for those of you out there who understand gear effect, why that happened. We hit it slightly in the heel. A little bit of gear effect on that one. Okay, so hopefully this is making sense for a lot of you, giving you a little bit of inspiration. Some people might just go down to 3-wood. Great. If that's your built-in solution for a tight golf hole like this, no problem at all. But for lots of you out there, a 460cc driver is going to offer you more forgiveness, higher MOI, a much larger target in order to hit than a fairway would. So we take the advantage when we can get them, which is obviously a bigger head, slightly elevated golf ball on the tee, and then we're going to set ourselves up for success with a little bit of an open stance, ball slightly more back, swing a tad more left. One thing I think will really help a lot of you out there with learning the swing that's going to make this easier to take to the golf course is go to your longest iron. For me, I've got 4-iron, and I like to hit some sort of lower, more penetrating long irons, and I think that's something that'll help you with the downward element to the strike. If we look at the swing direction metric that we've just put up here, we're trying to get that close to 0, which means that we're kind of swinging a touch more left with the base plane of our golf swing. So we've got the ball position back, stance a little bit open. Let's see if we can just keep this one down here, maybe 60, 70 feet in height. A little bit right, it's going to go up. Okay, swing direction 0.0. That was what I was trying to achieve. Okay, we've got that ball flight going out there, nice and neutral. Attack angle down, path a tad to the right. Lots of energy going into that 138 ball speed. And I'm going to try and basically take this exact swing in a second, try and really feel like I'm going to neutralize my club path and get more of a neutral angle of attack. As neutral as can be by moving that swing direction more towards 0 or even slightly into the negatives. So I love that as a drill. And then when you go back to the driver, try and replicate that. Harder to do because it's a longer golf club, but let's see if we can get that swing direction closer to 0. Okay guys, so hopefully by adding in a 4-iron drill or a long iron drill, we're kind of trying to hit that stinger ball flight where you're going to try and get the angle of attack down and path a little bit more left, trying to neutralize the swing direction, the base plane of your golf swing. You can get a little bit of feel for something that can really help you get in play. Lovely that last one there at 72 feet. You know, I'm just love to see a ball flight like that. It still goes out over 300 yards because it's got a bit of chase on it. Going to sacrifice nothing in distance, but everything you're going to gain in control. Nice to have lots of different options. Best players in the world aren't just one-dimensional, you know, with their golf clubs. They've got options when it comes to that, especially on days where they're struggling a little bit. Having that second serve or that little safety shot is a big, big advantage, and it can be for you guys too. All right, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you're not following us already, please subscribe. If you're enjoying the videos, make sure you like them. That's how you can tell us that keep making this type of content. You've got to sort of be heard in that way for us to know you enjoyed it. All right, guys, stay tuned for more. We'll see you again soon.